What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things.
With Shawn and Andrew.
This episode is all about Paris, traveling with kids, traveling the world, and all of the questions that you guys submitted. I think we'll have like 3 episodes of this because there were so many.
We did a screen recording to capture all the questions we got from Instagram. It was 9 minutes long, and we were scrolling at a quick rate.
Yes.
But for those of you who don't know us or don't know, Shawn and I just returned with our 3 kids who are age 5, 4... Sorry, what am I saying?
They're neither of those ages.
Well, I'm rounding up.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know, please help me with my kids' ages.
Yeah.
Almost 5, just turned 3, and 8 months.
Yes.
We were overseas in Europe. We went to London, Paris, and Italy. We were over there for 3 weeks. We took them into the Olympics. We had some work to do, and Shawn did a wonderful job as the Yahoo correspondent for the Olympics. But we were gone for so long, we obviously had to bring our kids, and we had some amazing memories. So this episode is going to be some questions about our experience, but also questions about what it was like traveling with kids.
Thank you for submitting the questions. There is an episode specific to traveling with kids on planes, trains, and automobiles around the world. So make sure you look for that one coming up. But this is also just kind of all-encompassing from the trip itself.
This will be fun. This will be a good way to capture our experience just for us, our personal documents.
Okay, first up, ready?
Yeah.
It says, rate the countries we have visited in order from best to worst.
Oh.
Let's start with this trip. So we had England, France, and Italy. I would say, for my personal opinion, I would say with kids,
Let's go 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
We each alternate.
In third place, France. Second place, England.
Italy.
First place,
England.
Italy. Why?
I don't know. England is so similar to what we have here. It's so livable. It's comfortable. We were only there for 3 days.
Yeah.
The weather was perfect. Our itinerary was great. Our accommodations were awesome. So it was tough to beat.
For sure. I would say I agree with all of that. England was amazing. It was very easy. I would say it's a great place to start for beginners if you're looking for a place to go with kids, but aren't wanting to venture out of culture too much. I will say Italy had a culture that it was definitely harder to get around with kids, not super kid friendly in the sense of navigating.
It's steep terrain. There's lots of steps, cobblestone. It's tight. It's like busy with people.
However, the food is amazing. The culture loves children.
Yeah, that was really fun.
So you felt very welcomed, and people would really help accommodate you and your family. So I think that made the hardship of it, easier.
I feel like we felt like we could live in England. We felt like tourists in Italy, and we felt like foreigners in France.
Yes.
That's kind of how I describe it.
I will say Paris was amazing. The Olympics were amazing. They pulled out all the stops for everyone there. But I will say overall, the culture of France was harder. You could definitely tell they weren't a fan of foreigners.
As much,
which is totally fine. But I did feel like I was imposing rather than welcome.
Number 2, most beautiful locations to visit in Paris.
Oh my gosh. Everywhere was beautiful.
The architecture and buildings they have are really iconic. Yeah. I'm a big fan of that. That was really cool to see.
The Louvre.
The Louvre is insane. Even the roof, you're like, wow, that is beautiful. It's like slate.
I know it's not technically in Paris, but Versailles.
Oh my gosh, talk to me.
The gardens, the palace were absolutely stunning. The gardens were unlike anything I'd ever seen in my life.
Would highly recommend that.
The Eiffel Tower.
To see the Seine from a boat's perspective was insane. I would definitely do that if you're ever in Paris.
Montmartre.
Oh my, dude, we had a great time in Paris.
We did.
Montmartre is like a basilica? That's what it's called. Basilica, which is kind of like a cathedral. And it's just surrounded by just a bunch of cool stuff. The basilica itself is insanely beautiful. Yeah, and you have a great view. Yes.
They have these bridges that have like the most amazing entrances, or like.
Yeah, there's one iconic bridge. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like it was.
Oh, Arc de Triomphe.
Nice.
Arc de Triomphe.
You tried.
I tried.
Yeah. I think that covers it pretty good.
Yeah. the parks, such a small thing, but like so beautiful.
We were really impressed with the parks in Paris. Great for kids. Honestly, within like a 10-minute walk of our house, there was 4 parks.
Yeah.
We went to each and every one of them. They all had carousels. They all had great playgrounds, space for the kids to run. It kind of reminds me of LA and how it's set up. Like you wake up in the morning and you're looking at like rooftops, and then there's like beautiful parks and places to go that are all walkable.
Yeah. Okay, next. Do we have picky eaters? Yes. And were the kids cool with the food from other countries? I really don't think we had an issue here.
I agree.
They're picky in the sense of like they're normal toddlers. I feel like when they were younger, like Bear's age, they'll eat anything. Jet is less picky than Drew. Drew's the pickiest because I think her age, just they get into like the snack phasing. But we found plenty of food in all the places. We also make sure to go to grocery stores wherever we are to pick up like fresh fruit and crackers and bars and just things where if they really get hungry, they'll have something that they can eat.
Yeah, we mentioned this in our main channel YouTube video of touring our apartment. The products they have there are either the same that we have in the US, so the kids like that, or very comparable. We got like Kind bars.
Yeah.
And they love that. They have pretty much like the same cereals, so the kids enjoyed. We don't usually eat cereal for breakfast, but they liked doing that.
And then I will say for the most part, all the restaurants were really accommodating. In Paris, it was a lot of like, they had Caesar salads, they had French fries, they had grilled chicken, they had kind of anything that, you would eat here. And then in Italy, it was so easy with the kids because they will live off of pasta and pizza.
I'll say this, and this is not like one is better than the other, because I think the U.S. food is really distinct and has so many wonderful qualities about it. The way they make food in Europe is different than the way they make it here. We also they have like a grading system on it from A to E, I think,
in Paris,
that tells you how healthy it is. I lost over 9 pounds in our 3 weeks there, just because I think the preservatives are different. We ate so much pasta and pizza, so many carbs.
Walk everywhere.
Yeah.
We had dessert every night. We drank wine. It just felt so clean.
Yeah. The taste probably isn't as spectacular as what you're used to in the U.S., like full in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could tell it was better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, we could talk about the European food a lot, but we'll go on to the next question, which is, what is one memory you hope your kids will remember from the trip?
I have mine.
Okay, hit it.
There is this really cool moment in Italy towards the end of the trip where we're all getting tired. We're missing home. We had a chef that night who made the most amazing dinner and was so kind to our kids. But after dinner was over, we went out into our yard at our Airbnb and we were playing tag. And our kids were just like the happiest they had ever been. The sunset was like out of a movie.
Gosh.
You could see the whole, like the Mediterranean Sea. It was just, I felt like I was in a movie. And to hear them belly laughing, giggling, it was just the best moment.
I feel passionate about this. That I hope the memory they take away is the dance parties we had in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm passionate about this because obviously it's ridiculous and so rare to be able to take your whole family at such a young age to Europe.
Yes.
It was such a unique thing that we got to do. We had work over there. It worked out really well for us. But I really believe that if you can be, happy and present and intentional in the playroom with your kids, that's what matters the most. And like, those are memories that I'll take away specifically for myself. I think what's unique about traveling is it kind of takes you out of your normal routine. So as opposed to, like whatever, getting consumed with household chores that you need to do while you're not traveling, like you're kind of on vacation, which puts you in a different kind of set of routines. But I don't think it's like, it's not going to be, oh, I hope they remember the Eiffel Tower. No, it's like
Yeah.
we had such a good time
Yeah.
together. I hope that's what they remember. It's just our giggles on the plane. That was friggin' gold.
Dude.
All right, next.
Did you end up having to buy formula in Paris? Yes. And it actually worked out really well. So I packed like a couple boxes of formula to take over, flew over perfectly fine, went through customs. Nobody asked a single thing. They actually recognized it like in my carry-ons and stuff. They're like, oh, yeah, please keep it. Even bottles filled with water. If it was like for the kids, they let me take it on. It was interesting. But then over there, I just used the French website, formula website. So instead of like .us, it was .fr, and I ordered enough for the whole trip, and it came within a day. It was really easy.
One thing that I started using in our travels that I'd never used before was a VPN. I'm saying this because like the e-commerce experience, shopping online is different. Even watching YouTube, or we were trying to watch the Olympics, we downloaded a VPN, which is super easy to use. And
VPN?
You didn't even know what this is?
No.
It essentially just tells the internet that your computer is located somewhere that it's not. I think it's like having your own private server ish. I'm not the guy to ask.
This is way over my head.
Anyway, you can get a similar e-commerce experience by using that.
Interesting.
That's what I have to say about that.
Okay. All right.
So look into that if you're traveling and having trouble.
Next up, do you find most places you went to were toddler friendly?
Not really the metro in France, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
That was crowded.
I will say in London, I don't feel like we were ever, out of place with kids.
The cabs in London are amazing.
Oh my
They're big enough to
gosh.
bring 2 strollers in, 6 people sit. So nice.
So easy,
Yes.
accommodating. In France, things didn't feel as toddler friendly.
Remember that guy that almost got in a fight with Jet on the freaking train? Because
Yeah.
Jet had his legs were too short, so his feet were sticking out on the seat, like straight out.
Yeah.
And this guy walks on the train and bumps into Jet's legs, and it's a grown man looked at Jet like he was gonna fight him. I was like, I almost fought him.
And the lady who was so upset that we were taking too long to walk. Yeah.
I forgot about that. She was not happy.
She was like cussing us out in French. Toddler friendly in Italy, yes. And I don't know how to explain this more other than places in Italy that don't feel toddler friendly by like how they look or the access are made toddler friendly because of the people. They will go above and beyond to make your kids feel welcome. We had so many people who wanted to who literally were like taking Bear out of my arms to while I was eating dinner. Not because I asked them, not because I looked like I needed it. They just said, oh, can I hold him while you eat? Or they're just so accommodating and love kids. And it just wasn't that way in France. Kids aren't as common around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder, Italy, we went to a tourist destination. Paris is like a city. It's like hustle and bustle city,
But
you know?
that's a tourist location.
Yeah. I guess you're right. It's more like, it's not like a beach, though. So I guess I'll grow my empathy there. But yes.
Yeah.
Toddler friendly. Take your kids. Our pace that we moved at was incredibly slow. Some people had patience for that. Some people didn't. The kids want to get in the stroller. They want to get out of the stroller. They want to get this under the stroller. You're just moving slower.
Yeah.
Next, would you recommend a hotel or Airbnb, and why?
Under the age of 5, an Airbnb. Over the age of 5, a hotel. I say this. Under the age of 5, I feel like you need more immediately accessible space to bedrooms, kitchen. You need to make bottles or food, or there's just more nuances for kids. Over the age of 5, kids can go longer periods of time without like needing to go back to the room to nap, or they can go, they're like more potty trained and able to use public toilets and don't need diapers. And so hotels are easier. They can share beds and you don't have to worry about it as much.
You get the towel service. It's clean.
Yeah.
That's the pro of a hotel. Another pro of the hotel is usually the location is like more central.
Yeah.
I guess that can also be a con though, because if you're looking to get like the real local experience, and Airbnb gets that for you. I think if you have a party bigger than 4, so we have 3 kids at this point, like you're either gonna have to get a second hotel room, which is not really ideal. That's when an Airbnb I think makes sense when you have a larger group.
Yeah.
Or a lot of kids.
So the way we did it, we had a hotel room in London, but we did 3 connecting rooms pretty much.
Yeah.
In Paris and in Italy, we did Airbnbs.
Downside with Airbnb is you kind of don't really know what you're getting until you get there. With the hotel, you usually understand there's like, I think, more comprehensive reviews and just like a lower range of possibilities.
And it's more helpful. So like with a hotel, if you get into your hotel late at night and you need food, you can just order food. Airbnb, you cannot. So there's more planning involved with an Airbnb. But I do think for younger kids, Airbnbs are better.
Yeah, we're definitely in the Airbnb stage.
Yeah.
Next, what would you change about the food there? Oh, another food question. Actually, I think I personally matured from the first time we went to Europe. I remember being like, oh, I don't want to eat this for like tomatoes for breakfast.
Yeah.
Or they have I think a lot more savory type of foods in a lot of ways, especially for breakfast, which is one of my favorite meals. And I think I didn't really enjoy that the first time around. This time, I was way more excited to like eat the local dishes. I think I've expanded my understanding of and appreciation of that.
I don't think I would change anything. I missed broccoli. I missed some green food and eggs. Those were very hard to come by, those 2 things.
But
it's also a different culture. Like we didn't have a problem with the food.
I also feel like they have way more vegetarian entrees in some ways. They have a bunch of like eggplant dishes, especially in France.
Squash, zucchini.
Whereas I feel like it's more meat based here, which is fine. I actually kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Ate a lot of eggplant. But we're not super into fancy food too. And I feel like that's the temptation is when you're traveling to France or Paris. It's like, oh, there's all these Michelin star restaurants. We don't really enjoy that experience. It sounds good in theory, but not in practice. You got the next one.
Where did we stay in Italy? So we stayed in this little town called Termini, and it's a little bit southeast of Sorrento, but it was pretty remote, very small, authentic local town, not touristy. And then we would drive up to Sorrento. We drove to Positano. We drove to Nerano. And stayed in Termini, which was great.
Yeah. A lot of zigzaggy roads. So like, even though you're 2 miles away, it's going to take you 20 minutes to get to Sorrento. It was kind of on top of a ridge. So we got a sweet 360 view. Shawn mentioned the sunset. It was awesome. I think the management group was called Feeling Italy. So you could probably check out their website.
They have a ton of properties.
Yeah. And they did a good job with having services like cooking classes or chefs that could. And
they were very responsive.
Yeah, that was great.
Next up, did we plan the whole trip ourselves or did I use a travel agent?
This is Shawn's superpower. One of them.
I love doing this stuff. So I planned it. This was a rare trip where I did consult a travel agent for Italy, only because I had to plan so much around London and Paris for the Olympics and everything. I just got tired by the time.
We were also so torn on where to go in Italy.
I know.
Because we were bouncing around
Mallorca.
Well, that's in Spain, but yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But we were bouncing around whether we go to Spain or Italy, Mallorca, Mediterranean, Amalfi. Do we go back to Rome or whatever?
Portugal, yeah.
And we had landed on Sorrento and ended up finding an Airbnb close to Sorrento because the reason why I chose Termini, this Airbnb, was after being in Paris for so long, in London with our kids where I knew we were going to be in an apartment, not have access to a pool or water, which is like their favorite thing in the whole entire world. I knew when we went to Italy, I wanted to have access to a pool. And
a yard.
finding that, you have to go outside the city.
Yeah. So you used a travel agent just to find the place we were going to stay,
Yes.
but we planned all the activities and the itinerary outside of that. So we used Viator for experiences, had such a blast. We did one literally in every city we went.
Yeah. Every 2 or 3 days, we did a different one.
And like, they're great. You could filter by duration, ratings, whatever you want to do. And it's in every city that you go to.
It's the only place I use anymore for booking experiences.
And we try
truly.
We plan our day kind of in the morning window, pre-afternoon nap and afternoon window.
Yeah.
And so we kind of have like 2 parts of the day. So we usually only have one activity a day that we consume one of those 2 windows with.
The other one will hang out.
Try to just take it slower.
Yeah.
Either enjoy our evening or have a slow morning. Did you and Andrew get any alone time?
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Andrew and I have a non-negotiable date night every single Thursday, but when our schedule is packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let priorities slip.
Even when we know what's most important, sometimes life gets in the way and it's hard to carve out the time. But when you feel like you have no time for yourself or your spouse, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever.
Oh, yes. Therapy is definitely a non-negotiable for both of us, regardless of how busy the season is. We've seen such incredible improvements in our personal life and marriage from going to therapy, and we would recommend it to literally anyone.
I couldn't agree more. BetterHelp is a great place to start if you're thinking of starting therapy. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You'll just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge.
Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/eastfam today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/eastfam. Did you and Andrew get any alone time? Yeah, we had a naked time.
Oh my God.
Is that specifically what they're...
That's not what that was asking. Just one.
It was like we went to work events together.
Yeah.
So it wasn't quite date night.
Andrew and I also got to go to Turks and Caicos right before this trip for 4 nights by ourselves, which was amazing. We kind of expected that for this trip, though, not having time together. We knew it was going to be a work trip, and we really wanted to concentrate all of our time that we had free with the kids. So, no, we didn't really get any alone time, but we kind of planned it that way.
Yeah. I really have felt not having date night, too.
Same.
It's like not good. We went 3 weeks with no date night.
Like, we're not good?
I don't feel like... I feel like there was a lot of things emotionally, which is like you got to search for it and dig for those things that we need to catch up on, you know?
Yeah.
There's
but
a lot
we're
of...
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of logistics and planning that we talked about, and that's what all like the work trip is like, do we got to do this? We got to talk to this person. Do you respond to them? It wasn't like, how's your relationship with this friend or whatever, you know?
We also had a hard time planning any alone time because of the amount of time we were taking for work and putting on my mom, Griffin, and Andrew's mom to watch the kids.
Yeah.
So like asking them on top of that, can Andrew and I go on a date night? It just didn't feel right at the time.
Yeah. You got the next one.
Okay. Do we feel like a month was too long to be away? No.
So it was right at 3 weeks we were gone.
I feel like it was perfect.
The kids thrive, dude.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of any trip, you're ready to be home, no matter if it's 3 nights or 3 weeks. So the last couple of days, we were like kind of itchy. But no, we had such a good time. Such a good time.
Yeah, I think it allowed us to it allowed the kids to get fully acclimated, to truly be sleeping good, in a new routine. You got like a big fuzz on the end of your nose.
Thank you.
And it just made it like a true go experience, a different culture.
It felt like we were living in a different city.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
As opposed to actually having to live in a different city. We just stay in Nashville.
Yeah.
tinker around and experiment elsewhere.
Were there any days you felt totally overwhelmed? You always seem so up, and it blesses me. Yes. The travel days.
Oh, there were tears from everybody. I think everybody cried on the trip.
Yeah. Yes. We had a couple of hard times where we felt totally overwhelmed. I felt totally overwhelmed when Jet got sick, because that's when I felt the most away from home, where I didn't have immediate access to like our doctors, our resources, our hospitals. So that really kind of shook me. And then travel days are also always hard because you're getting reacclimated, you're packing everything back up, and it just makes it feel stressful and not super enjoyable.
Yeah, you're like a Sherpa. You're just carrying bags, luggage.
Kids.
It's a lot. You're sweating. It's freaking.
What about you?
Yeah, overwhelmed. Jet and I got stuck on a train for 16 hours when we thought it was only going to be a 2-hour ride.
Oh.
And there was just a lot that happened. And I don't get overwhelmed. If it was just me, would have been totally fine. But I have a 3-year-old here who doesn't have the same perspective or bandwidth as I do. And you just want the guy to be able to, I don't know, like you want to make him comfortable, which sounds weird, but like you just want to make sure he's okay. Mm-hmm. So that was a little overwhelming, is situations where I didn't feel like we could provide that. Yeah. Must-sees in Paris and skips in Paris. I feel like Versailles is a must-see. Mm-hmm. I feel like Louvre could be a pass. Yeah. You don't need to go in the Louvre. We walked in the courtyard.
I know, but remember when we did the Louvre? Like, if you're really into art, you should go see the Louvre.
Let's talk about with kids. From a
kids?
From a
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Skip the Louvre at all costs if you have kids.
But Versailles, there's so much room to run around.
Yeah.
The river cruise, I think, is a must-do.
The Eiffel Tower, I think, was a must.
Yeah, again, a lot of room to run around.
But I also will say, for us with kids, for the Eiffel Tower, shockingly, for the Olympics, the Eiffel Tower was dead. There was nobody.
Yeah, it really was.
So if it was like a super long line, I would pass with kids.
Back to the overwhelm question, I think like when we plan the activities and choose, the Viator stuff, try to get a spot that's not too crowded, that's not going to require efficiency or like be on a tight time schedule, because I think we've gotten better at understanding. We just move slower. There's unpredictables. Is there a restroom readily available? Is there food there?
Snacks.
So the Eiffel Tower has snacks on the base level, the second level. Yeah. Is there room to run around?
You have the option to do the elevator or the stairs.
Are there seats and AC around? Like we kind of think about all this stuff to prevent overwhelm.
How do you deal with the mental load of motherhood on vacations?
It's a good question.
I honestly thought we did a really good job of that this trip. Like I felt like we had a lot of really good quality time with the kids. I don't feel like there were massive frustrations or explosions with like the kids being kids. Mm-hmm.
Some of that comes with reps. I think some of that's alleviated with planning. I think when there was that mental load, stress, it was when things weren't as planned as you wanted them to be. Yeah. But you did a great job.
Expectations. Oh, here's an overwhelmed. This is a lesson learned from both Andrew and I. Managing expectations. We booked on the way there an overnight flight thinking,
oh gosh,
super easy. Kids will sleep. We'll get there, And we set our expectations at that. And it was one of the hardest flights of our life because they didn't sleep. And we were in this panic mode as parents of like, they have to sleep. They have to sleep. Instead of just being like, they're not going to sleep. Let's give it up. So that was an overwhelmed. I think like managing your expectations of go with the flow, figure it out afterwards. It's going to be fine. But I think that kind of reset the tone for the whole trip for me.
Yeah. Next, what did you learn about yourself or your family on this long trip?
That our kids are freaking amazing.
Yeah, I'm so proud of them. It was so fun because I think we each got individual time with each of the kids. So like Drew, I just learned about her. She takes a little longer to open up, but on this trip, she was like more prone to dancing, and she wanted to dance with me, and she was more prone to like want to sit down and tell me about what she's excited about, which is adorable, and that doesn't happen necessarily in the normal routine at home. With Jet, it was like just to see his boyhood imagination and passion, and like, oh, honestly, it was kind of nostalgic to hear him share all these ideas, to see the warmth that he creates around him, and the like how he feels. He makes adults feel welcome, and like no matter what language they spoke, they responded to his smile and wave that he said that he gave everyone. With Bear, it's like that dude is so chill and freaking cute, and like just along for the ride.
Yeah.
They're all so impressive. And then I think there was this aura of team that was developed, and the kids even said that to me. Each Drew and Jet said, "Dad, we're a team," and it's like, yeah, we are. And that I think only came from the newness of the context that we were in.
But I also love that we're teaching that because, like I said, kids love to be included. They're very used to us going after work. They're very used to us going on work trips. They're very used to like mommy and daddy have their things and we have our things. But I think seeing the kids feel so special, being so included, and it be the normal there was really cool.
Yeah, and then to have Sean's mom and my mom there to like tie in all these kind of family legacy and lore stories was really special. So like, hey, you know, Dad and I went to Paris, and like all those things I think actually have a really big effect. You got the next one.
Do we feel like we overpacked or underpacked? I don't know. We went through all of our stuff.
I think we had 12 bags total, including carry-ons. So we checked
Really?
7 bags, and then we each had a carry-on. I had my backpack. I'm counting. For 3 weeks with sound machines, formula, shoes, all your fancy event stuff.
Hold on. So between the 5 of us, between you, me, and the 3 kids, we had 2 strollers. We had 4 suitcases, 3 big ones and a carry-on, and 2 backpacks. So what is that?
8.
Yeah. I feel like maybe overpacked a little bit. It was unique because of the work situation.
But not by much.
But not by much.
You did an elite job.
Like we went through all the kids' clothes multiple times. Yeah. No, I think it was pretty good.
There was some stuff like we thought we were going to wear more Olympic themed clothing. So I brought like a jacket, but that was pretty much the only thing I didn't wear.
And we did bring a few like fancy outfits just in case we had, you know, we said yes to more events, but we didn't use them. I don't know. Yeah.
You did a great job. Kudos to you, babe.
Thank you.
Next, favorite meals that you ate in France and Italy. Oh, there's this local restaurant in Italy that we had the best pasta at.
Yeah.
It was also after the travel day, so that makes things automatically more satisfying. We had this insane pizza that had flavors I'd never tasted before. Yeah. And then in France, what was our favorite French?
I would just say the French baguettes.
Oh, we crushed.
We bought a baguette every single day from like a local market.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. Okay. Disney Paris. Was it worth it? Is it better than the ones in US? Hot take?
Is it better than the ones in the US? No.
Was it worth it? No.
It was worth it. I'm glad we went, and I'm not itching to go back.
I'm glad we went, but if I am giving someone advice as far as like where to spend your money, it would not be Disneyland Paris.
I agree.
It would be Disney World Florida if you're going to do a Disney, and use your money somewhere else in Paris.
If you're looking to have
Like,
shorter lines though,
but that's because the Olympics. You don't know.
Yeah, you're right. It was like a French holiday when we went, and it was rainy, and
It was
the
pouring.
Olympics, so there were like almost no lines. But
I would have been curious. I've heard the Paris zoo was great for the kids, an aquarium, but we didn't do those. So
Yeah.
maybe those would be better than Disney.
But some people like the idea of going to all the Disneys worldwide. So,
True.
in the sense to say that,
There were some unique things. The food there, I liked their little food huts. They were cute. Yeah, it was a different experience, but this is my favorite memory from Disney. Oh my gosh. The Disneyland Paris parade,
oh yeah,
hands down, the best Disney parade I've ever seen.
it was great. It was really great. It was worth it to compare and contrast it with Disney World Orlando.
Yeah.
It was not better though than Disney World Orlando.
Yeah.
I think that's our dog standing outside the
I was
room.
gonna say, is he trying to come in?
All right, next. Why did you travel with the kids and not just Andrew?
Way too long. We will never be away from our kids that long.
We got invited to do an epic game show, which we very much do want to do. It's a bucket list item for us.
Or
And we
maybe
turned
you
it
kind of
down.
like go around the world as fast as you can.
And we turned it down because it's too long away from the kids.
Yeah, no.
Look, we're in a phase with these young kids that there's such drastic change happening so quickly. We don't want to miss a single second of it.
Yeah.
You go away from an 8-month-old for 2 weeks, you come back to a whole different kid. And it's like, there's no reason for us to do
Yeah.
that, you know?
The longest we've been away from our kids is 4 nights, 5 days.
Turks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we understand that traveling with kids is more stressful, but also it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question about that.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. Please tell me more about hiring a chef. That looked amazing. We found the contact. We asked the property manager of our Airbnb if they had any contacts to chefs, just asking and then seeing what the prices were. And it actually was pretty common in Italy where people would come and make traditional Italian dishes.
The price was not that much more than eating a normal dinner.
Nope. I would just always recommend reaching out to your Airbnb person or asking, a
No,
hotel.
Viator has it too. We
Oh,
did
yeah,
one
yeah,
through the
yeah.
Airbnb, one through the Viator. And so check that out.
Yeah.
Next. Was being there more or less expensive than you thought? We had an exorbitant amount of charges on our credit card. But I think kind of budgeted that in a little bit. Like this is what we're doing. We have a budget and then we have a added miscellaneous cushion above that we budget in. I think we did that. There were some hiccups like buying the tickets to the event.
Yeah.
That ended up, we charged the card like 6 times for one pair of tickets. That doesn't ultimately, but go ahead.
I'll say this. It was not any more expensive than I thought and we had budgeted for, with the exception, like remove Olympic tickets.
Yeah.
So take Olympic tickets out of it. It was not more or less expensive than we thought. It was very not more or less expensive. Olympic tickets were astronomical.
Yeah.
Shockingly expensive to the point where
Hurt your feelings a little bit.
I was appalled.
Yeah.
We were in the nosebleed section for the gymnastics event because we bought them last minute and it was
Very expensive.
dumb.
Yeah. But man, we racked up the Uber bill. Maybe that was unnecessary just because it was it's close to bedtime. We need to get the kids home. Let's take an Uber. We could have walked, but let's take an Uber.
Yeah.
So we actually did a good job talking about all this. And I think that's what helped with this trip with the mom, what was the earlier one? Motherhood load. Was just the planning that went into it. And
We
part
set
of
a
that-
budget
yeah.
and expected it.
It was good.
I did not mean to talk over you.
I'm doing that all the time to you, so I apologize too.
No, I
If
apologize.
Shawn and I seem a little out of sorts, it's because we landed
12 hours ago.
about 12 hours ago back from this trip. So
Yeah.
we're and we leave for New York tomorrow because we have work to do. It's great. All right, next. Did you have a driver or walk everywhere? Wow, who gets at what point in your life do you have a driver? You know, you got a driver. We had an
Yeah.
Uber.
We don't have a driver.
We averaged probably 11,000 steps a day.
At least, yeah.
And we also Ubered quite a lot. But we did not have a driver.
Yeah. Did we feel safe when we were there? We did.
We also planned for that. That was a huge part. We literally had a safety briefing. This was part of our planning.
We have a lot of friends who work in safety. I'll say that.
And this is something that does not come naturally to me is I probably overly trust people naturally. Yes. And so this is actually a good exercise for me to like, hey, let's make sure we know where the U.S. Embassy is in each country we go to. Let's get the contact of all these people, punch them in your phone. Let's whatever. Like we went through step-by-step thing, which maybe it's worth sharing at some point. But
I will say a couple of things that I did that I guess kind of prepared me, kind of didn't prepare me, was I called our pediatrician before I left, asking if they knew about the healthcare system in these countries, if they had any advice, if our kids got ear infections or if there were prescriptions I could travel with, that kind of thing. I also was advised to like look up where a local hospital was, which really didn't help. And you also just like share your location with people who are back home. But yeah, I did feel really safe when I was there.
Yeah.
In all countries.
In Paris, there was like 2 doors that each had codes. It was good. It was a good setup there. But the whole feeling of feeling safe, I think planning goes a long way. Even though it's like, yo, you could look up the hospital on Google Maps whenever something happens, but like maybe you don't have service. That was a big thing for us is the service was so spotty. We didn't get like an international plan. So you're like, just knowing where it is conceptually really helped.
Yeah. Have our kids recovered from the sickness they got over there? Yes.
Shawn freaking crushed it. She spent a whole day chasing this doctor and medication down. And you took care of our family. Dude, I appreciate that.
Our kids were sick, but they're good now. Did their culture seem to embrace kids, or was it, quote, every family for themselves kind of mentality like the U.S.?
London felt communal. Italy felt fun and welcoming. France felt more, but it's a different city. Like it's more of a.
If it means anything, I read this on every blog, where it said like traveling with kids to France is not really encouraged.
Yeah, it felt like every family for themselves.
I will say Paris gave off a very like Michelin star restaurants, very romantic, very adult, very sophisticated, high fashion, material like. It was very elite. So you didn't really have many opportunities to feel like, oh, let my kids just run wild.
Or like when you're in a restaurant and the kids are throwing French fries everywhere, you don't feel super great about it.
Yeah.
Whereas in Italy is like, you know, we're trying to clean up and everyone's laughing and the waiters come over and talk to us.
Yeah.
And as you're all cleaning up the French fries, but it was good. It's kid friendly, but it doesn't feel super family oriented.
Yeah.
You know, because the parks really are great.
Yeah.
You could thrive there as your own family.
Yeah, but even in the parks, it felt like quiet. Like our kids were like screaming and people were quiet.
People gave us a lot of parenting advice in France. People would give like drive-by tips, like, "Hey, don't do that with your kid." It's like, "Thank you, thanks." Anyway, yeah.
It was like sprinkling, not even misting one day, and I was carrying Bear, and a like older lady stopped us and was so concerned. She's like, "You have to put the baby in the stroller."
It's like we have 20 feet to our door.
And we're like, "Thank you."
Yeah. Shawn and I also kind of adhere to free range parenting is what we'll call it. And that's not really welcomed or understood everywhere. So our kids, they have a good time, you know?
Yeah. Okay,
Next.
last one. Would you ever put together a full travel itinerary of what you did so you could go back and do it again? Well, we do have a full travel itinerary. We can share it with you. Everything we did. But to use it to go back and do it again, Andrew and I think you would agree with me, are not repeat vacationers. we will probably never go back.
There's been one place ever in the
Yeah.
world that we've been that we're like, we should come back here.
Where?
Say it.
Turks.
Yeah. Yeah. And then for us as a couple, we've been to, well, we won't say it. We don't need to say the name. In East Tennessee.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But we like new experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sean did an awesome job. I don't know how long that itinerary is. I'm going to guess 30 pages of what we did.
Shout out
where
to
we
Lexi
went. Yeah. And then
for taking all of my ideas and thoughts and bookings and putting them on.
we even have that from when we went to Europe in 2018. So anyway, let us know if you want us to share that. Next, was the language barrier difficult? Honestly, not that bad with the technology we have. And I mentioned that I want to share all the useful apps that we had, but like even calling a car with Uber is such a different experience than waiting on a curb and trying to call a taxi or waiting in a taxi line trying to get it. Or, we have a couple translator apps that really helped. And so anytime you're really in a pinch, you just like type it in, it translates it to the language, you show the screen to the other person. That worked out great. I don't know. I really never feel like it was a restrictive thing.
I think we live in a day and age where it's like there are so many things to help with that it didn't feel restrictive.
I'm pretty hyped about these. I got these fancy glasses that the Ray-Ban Meta things. I'm pretty sure it's the future. But you could look at it, a sign that's written in a different language and say, tell me what this says in English. And it just does it like without even a hiccup.
Used them the night that Jet was sick, and I used them to read French medications.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Last.
What did we miss most about being home? Our coffee.
Probably, honestly, yeah. Nash.
Nashy.
We couldn't bring our dog. We missed that guy.
Yeah.
I really felt this was kind of a pivotal thing, though, a pivotal trip for us because I felt like it really molded us together in a unique way. Like we're always with school and activities and friends and the normal stuff that happens when you're in a beautiful community like we are here in Nashville. But I felt like this is our unit. And it kind of strengthened that in a cool way.
I think it also solidified the idea that we had of we want to spend summers traveling. You and I have talked about before kids wanting to like live abroad for a while or live somewhere else. And this kind of checked off a lot of passions that we have.
Yeah.
Of being together, traveling and visiting different cultures, not buying into just like the one city mentality for life all year round.
Yeah.
Taking our kids with us.
I also feel like in the US, you kind of know how things work. You're used to it. Like, you know how good or bad your cell phone service is at home. And in Europe, it was like, I can't look up anything,
No.
Or even watching TV. It's like you got your normal channels or the movies, whatever. There's like just the little comforts.
I loved it.
Yeah. It was really magical. But anyway, we'll wrap it there for today. Stay tuned for more episodes because we'll be answering more questions about the Olympics, travel. There was so many questions, but this was a long enough episode.
Yeah.
So also, if you made it this far, like, comment, and subscribe, please, wherever you're listening. And that's it. We'll see you next time. I'm Andrew.
I'm Shawn.